Hey, what is up you guys, welcome back. Today I have a very short video for you where I am going to try and teach you how you can price check CSGO skins with low floats. So you can just do it whenever you want and get as much value out of your skins as possible. Right here I have a lot of cheap low float skins. And you might be wondering, why am I showing field tested minimal wear skins as low float? That's because not only factory new skins get overpay for low float, right? If it's a field tested skin, but the float is really low in the field tested category, the skin can still get quite a bit of overpay, and you would be surprised how much it can get sometimes. It's generally quite good to pay attention to your floats, price check them and sell the skin for what it's actually worth. Because all the skins that I bought here, I bought them for base price. I didn't overpay for the float. So all the overpay that the float brings is all profit. We're going to be using the Chinese buff in order to price check these things. It's generally quite easy because they literally have a feature built in. So there's not gonna be a lot of trouble. And just so you understand, this video is not about how to price check super low float rare items. No, this is just for casual items that there are thousands of. Nothing special, but they do get some overpay. That's what we're looking for. This right here is a pretty basic example. SG553 Aloha in factory new. We can see the base price for the skin is about 16 cents. That's just for regular floats in factory new. For example, this one is 0.067, so it's actually quite bad for a factory new one. But then we can just go here, click on the float range, select 0.00 to 0.01. We select this range and now it's gonna show the 00 float. For example, if I purchase this skin with a 00 float somewhere else without having to overpay for it, that means that I could sell it for 28 cents easily and make about 80% profit. I know it's a very cheap skin, but this is an example that I'm just showing on a very casual skin that I have in my inventory. The next example I want to show you is going to be a minimal wear skin. Right, because you can get overpay quite a bit even if it's a minimal wear skin. For example, you can see base price for this skin is $4.92. If I click on the low float minimal wear, which is this category right here from 0.07 to 0.08, you can see I am the cheapest for sale for $6.84. But that's just because I just listed the item. Maybe someone will buy it, maybe someone will outprice me by listing lower than me, but I will just continue to list lower until someone eventually buys it. But as is, I'm about 40% above market price for this item, and all of that is actually profit. So I think that's a really good deal. And then I also have a field tested example, this one right here, base price 73 cents. We sorted by the lowest float category in field tested, which is 0.15 to 0.18, and we can sell it for 124, which is also like 30-40% more. And it's not always guaranteed that we will be able to sell it for that price, but we kind of have to just compare it to what the next level is, right? Minimal wear is 155. This one is 124. So actually, yeah, that's a pretty good price. It's lower than minimal wear, which makes sense, right? The float is worse, but it's still quite a bit higher than field tested. So in the end, you're able to sell for about 30-40% this skin specifically. There are a lot of skins that don't actually give you any overpay. For example, I have this dual Berettos, field tested, low float, but there is zero overpay to be had on this skin. For example, it's 16 cents regular, 16 cents in low float. So not all skins are gonna get you overpay. If you look at more expensive skins, for example, this Neon Rider in field tested, base price 25, low float is going to be about 28. So that's about 10% overpay just for the low float, which is really good. Here is another example. Blue Phosphor factory new a more expensive skin, 217. If we go to low float, it's gonna be worth about 230. Not a whole lot more considering that this skin only exists in factory new minimal wear, meaning that there is a higher chance to get a low float for this skin, but it still has a decent overpay for low float. The hardest part about pricing low float skins is that when there is not a whole lot of items for sale like this one, it's hard to determine what the low float is actually worth. But if, let's say, this skin didn't have any low floats already for sale that I could take a reference from, then I would take my reference from the minimal wear one. I would just list cheaper than the minimal wear, and then I would just start reducing the price as time passes to try and get the skin sold faster. And that's kind of how you find the sweet spot of what you should be selling it for if there is no other point of reference. if the skin you have is like factory new, super low float, and you're trying to find the price for it, but there is no other skins like it, in that situation, it's just gonna be really hard to find the perfect price. You're just gonna have to start somewhere high and relist it lower and lower and lower until someone eventually buys it. Anyway, I hope that this short little video has given you at least a tiny bit of insight how you can price check your own low float skins and how you can determine how much you can get for them. Also, this would work for high float skins. You just basically check on buff. I know this sounds like very basic information, but for a lot of people it is going to be new information. Well, if you enjoyed watching the video, then I would appreciate it if you drop a like, because every like on the video brings another 10 people. That's just how YouTube works, so yeah, it would be very appreciated. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Alright, bye bye.